Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I feel like I'm kind of rambling at this point, but like,
No, this is no, I'm enjoying this a lot. This is like I think it's one, it's I don't get a lot of opportunity to talk to people like this granularly about music, and I think that's one of the bigger reasons that I created this kind of this show and environment, because I wanted to get people who are really passionate about the things they do and the things they care about to be able to have this thing where sometimes you just get lost in talking about something for a few minutes and kind of cultivating that community around that where it's like, yeah, like this is exactly why you're on here type of thing. So I think you talking about that led me to a question about if you have a favorite era of music journalism.
ooh, favorite era of music journalism. Um, damn, I want to say, hmm, um, that's I wasn't expecting that. That's a great question.
Hey, curveball, one
Shit.
curveball.
Yeah, let's go. My favorite era of music journalism, I want to
Yeah.
say I really love I really love I want to say like the early to mid 2000s, just like everything that was going on with everything like that, like there's so many different areas I could go with it too. But like one of my mentors, his name's Jerry Barrow. Shout out to Jerry. He used to work over at he's worked at the Source. He had this producer focused magazine called Scratch Magazine. Really incredible work there. Like you could tell the thing that really gets me is that you could tell at that point that like because like for so long rap music wasn't looked at as a thing that would be around forever. Like people thought it was just going to be a fad that would die in 10 years. But like at this point it's like, okay, rap made it to the point where like like all this ad money and all this fucking like publication revenue and just like this like
Right.
respect, like they made it there, and
Yeah,
like you can
yeah,
see it in the way that like the covers look. You can see
yeah.
it in the way that like one of the ones that always sticks out to me is the cover of 50 Cent, Dre, and Eminem. I think it was on Double XL. I can't
Yeah,
remember the exact year, and I'm mad that I'm forgetting. But like stuff like that, and stuff like the photo shoot that Jay did in the early 2000s for Vibe, right when the Blueprint came out with him in the fucking wave cap, and he's like sipping on the
yeah,
quarter
yeah, yeah,
waters.
yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
classic shit like that where like everybody was really starting to step into the groove of like, oh, we're in the spotlight now. Like
right,
it's
right.
time to go. But obviously there was a lot of really, just like fucked up, just like racist, sexist,
Yeah,
homophobic, fucking like all
yeah,
sorts of crazy shit happening
yeah,
around them. There's a whole episode of Louder Than a Riot about it that
yeah,
goes into everything happening with like Benzino and
yeah.
um I'm just mad that I'm like blanking on names right now because I should like know this shit.
Nah,
But
you got a good the names rolling off was crazy.
Kim
Just
Osorio, that's her name.
yeah.
She was an editor over at the Source, and she had she was at the center of this really fucked up smear campaign by Benzino
Mm,
and the rest of the people over at the Source. But
yeah.
like so like that era was really beautiful, and I kind of really like like I want to say I don't want to say now because
Mhm.
things are like the state of media is really scary and
Yeah,
shit. Like there's like so many
yeah,
layoffs happening. Like there's so
yeah,
few, like there's fewer and fewer publications that can really focus on music in a way that feels, like connected and
right,
tapped in and not just
right.
like, oh, we're just doing this because it's hot right now.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
like there is really a lot of beautiful work that's been happening between like 2015 and now. Like the last 10 years have been incredible. Like like a lot of my favorite journalists are from this era. Like people like Craig Jenkins, people like fucking like my man Alphonse, people like my homegirl Moncaber Conte over at Rolling Stone, and like Andre G over at Rolling Stone, and my homegirl Heaven Hale with me over at Pitchfork, and
yeah,
like Angelica Bastian over at Vulture. She mostly does film criticism, but she's amazing.
mm. Right, right.
Like my man Mono Sundararasan and everything he does with Nobels. Like
Yeah,
Nobels is incredible. Like there's so many different names that I could throw out
yeah,
that are just like, it and it's crazy because we're gonna come back to like like necessity kind of like necessitates, I guess.
Mhm.
Because like, like things are
Or
dying, but
yeah,
like, like things are dying, but it's kind of forcing and or encouraging people to really dig into the stuff they like and the stuff they're passionate about. That's why real notes exist. That's why Nobels exist. I just like that's why stuff like this happens, because there's a need for it. Or if not a need for it, there's at least like the spark of an idea that like, hey, we need something that does this, this, and this.
right.
Like there's
Specific. Yeah.
there's there are so many things wrong with music journalism today. Like so
Mm.
many things. Like I don't have time to even dig into it.
Listen.
But like
Yeah.
there's also a lot. But like the people who are here and are like bailing water out the ship, as it were, are really trying and really putting together some beautiful things that like yeah, and like it's reflective of the fact that like there's so much like there's a lot of mid going around, but like there's also just a lot of like really incredible music happening at every single level of this shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like we're in a transitional period right now where
Yeah.
like people are still we still don't really know what it means. Like we don't know what it means for an artist to like blow and be a superstar anymore. Like there's no like people like Drake and Kendrick and Cole and like Taylor Swift
Yeah,
and
it's a
people
different
like that was like that was a completely different kind of stardom than we see now. Like
exactly.
you can have someone like Ice Spice, who I love,
Right.
but
Right.
like like she's extremely popular, but only to an extent, because like
Yeah.
because like everything's niche now. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Like there's no monoculture anymore. Like everything, even
Yeah.
like extremely popular shit, like that's still niche because it's niche to the
That's
people that
crazy.
like it's like we're still trying to figure out how to manage all of that and like what it
Yeah.
means. Like we still kind of have these old ideas of what it means to be a star, and we want that
Right.
to go back to that because it's what we know.
Right. Yeah.
But like we're not really there anymore, and we just got to embrace the fact that things are going to be a lot more turbulent. Like there isn't going to be yeah, like like there was a point where somebody like Nicki Minaj could be the only woman rapping that people fuck
Right.
with. And like if there was
Right.
anybody else, like it just had to be like chaos and fighting. But like, like just like you just look at people like Ice Spice and Dochi
Right.
and Flo Milli
Rico.
and fucking
Yeah.
Rico and No
Yeah.
Name and like I could
Yeah.
and Kelly Moonstone, who most people
Yeah.
don't know yet, but you will
Yeah.
soon.
Shout out. Yeah.
Like it's like there's room there's like there's room for everybody in a way that there wasn't before.